Shalom, shalom. Today we have a special program for you about Hanukkah. We'll share with you about Hanukkah, show you in the Bible where you can read about how Yeshua himself celebrated Hanukkah. And Shani, my wife, will teach you what the word Hanukkah means in Hebrew, and much more on today's special Hanukkah edition.
Shalom, I'm Shani Ferguson, and your Hebrew word for today is Hanukkah. But first, let me clarify a common mistake people make when they see a menorah, the kind used in the temple, and think it's the same as a Chanukiah. I'll share with you the difference, and perhaps next time you'll be able to impress your friends with this knowledge. It's quite simple. A menorah has 7 branches, and a Chanukiah has 9. The 9 branches symbolize the 8 days of Hanukkah and the shamash that is used to light them all. But did you know the word Chanukiah is not just used for the holidays? In Israel, there is more than one type of Chanukiah. Have you ever heard of a Chanukiyat Maim, a water Chanukiah, which is the water splitter pipes you'll find in every building structure that enjoys running water? Modern Hebrew is full of surprises, and you could imagine why someone thought it looked a lot like the traditional Chanukiah. Hanukkah, or Chanukah as we say in Hebrew, is both the name of a holiday as well as a word used in our everyday language. Unlike words such as Pesach, Passover, or Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, which are mostly used in context of the holiday titles, Hanukkah means dedication. It's true that many people refer to Hanukkah as the Feast of Lights, which isn't wrong, since lighting candles in remembrance of the small jar of oil that is said to have lasted 8 days is part of the holiday, and as it also occurs near the time of another famous holiday that incorporates a lot of lights, I can see how this description would offer a nice alternative for young Jewish children. However, Hanukkah is at its core the feast of dedication, specifically the rededication of the temple and the altar after it was defiled by the ruler Antiochus of the Seleucid Empire. In Israel, dedications are an important part of our culture. For example, you can have a Chanukat Bait, literally the dedication of a home. Chanukat Bait is the Hebrew term for a housewarming, a celebratory gathering of friends you put on when you move into a new home. Your friends will gather and rejoice and often bring small gifts in honor or in dedication of your new place of habitation. And if they are believers, they may also come and pray for God's favor on your time there. So as we celebrate Hanukkah this year, why not look at our own lives and see if there is any part we have allowed to be defiled and take a moment to ask the Lord to purify it and rededicate it to the use and purpose of the one who is holy. Happy Hanukkah.
The prophets foretold of Israel's return to its ancient land of promise in the last days. They also prophesied her return to her God once she re-inhabited the land. But what will this spiritual restoration look like? God himself promised all Israel shall be saved. We must prepare the land for the harvest.
Shalom, we are at the Thean Educational Center for the children of evacuees from the northern and southern border. We've been here with the children since December, when the center was built. There was a very large group of evacuees from here from Sderot. There were kids in kindergarten, elementary, and high school. The people from Sderot returned home a few weeks ago. And we now have families from Kiryat Shmona. The parents also, as you can see, come here every day. There are specialty classes, workshops, treatments, games. personal tutoring, classes for parents as well, English class for parents, sports classes, Pilates, everything you could ask for. We adjust ourselves according to the needs on the ground in cooperation with the Ra'anana municipality, the Ministry of Education, and of course, Maoz Israel, who are very, very helpful to us. The children are happy here.
What happened here in recent months since the 7th of October, when evacuees from both the south and the north searched for a safe place to stay? They came to Ra'anana. We put them in hotels here. We opened the school near the hotel together with the Ministry of Education. So these kids would feel safe and have the stability of a daily school routine. At the moment, the children of Kiryat Shmona are here. Kiryat Shmona is being bombed. Kiryat Shmona is under assault every day. And that is why the children are here, in a safe place in Ra'anana. We wrap the kids and their parents in a loving environment. And when I step outside now from this interview and I see them sitting there in the yard talking and their kids playing with local kids, it's exciting. Because we are a very organized municipality, we are able to move quickly. With help from the Ministry of Education and the Ra'anana Foundation that helped us throughout the whole process. We zoned and prepared the land and brought prefab structures with trucks. We took care of environmental issues and landscaping. I think the whole process took a month and a half, and the school was ready. And today, in the afternoons, it is also used as a community center, where both Ra'anana children and evacuee children come. And when they are together in this dynamic, you feel the connection, you feel the commitment that we are one people. So this is an opportunity to say thank you to Maoz Israel. It's not a given that these things just happen. I think it shows our resilience as the people of Israel, our resilience that we all understand the magnitude of the hour. And I'm proud of your foundation, Maoz Israel. We embrace you, we love you. Proud of your team, we will continue to work together because I think this is what unites us. And this is what shows that the people of Israel live.
You can provide much-needed aid to Israelis impacted by the war. Go to israelneedsme.com and make a generous donation today.
My name is Olga. We are a big family. My husband and I have 3 children. My parents are also with us, and we've been living here in Israel for 7 years. We came from Ukraine. I was actually the one who wanted to live in Israel, and I asked my husband if he wanted to, and he answered, yes, let's do it. We moved to Israel, and then we brought my parents over, and we started a new life. My profession is civil engineering. I earned my degree in Ukraine, and here in Israel I worked in construction planning offices. I love doing it. I build models, we make plans to build bridges, buildings, and all kinds of things in our country. We're building a nation. A few years ago, I was standing at a bus stop on the way home from work. I was waiting for the bus, and suddenly, an electric bike hit me from behind. After a week, I couldn't work, I couldn't sit, I couldn't get up in the morning to do basic things. I went on sick leave for a year and a half. I was at home without the possibility of working. Because of my inability to work, only my husband worked. Suddenly, we were left with only my husband's salary. He worked, but with the lack of my salary, it wasn't enough for us to buy basic things like food, clothes, classes for children. At some point, the pastor of our congregation saw our situation. He advised us to contact I Stand With Israel and ask for help. That's what we did. I Stand With Israel helped us a lot, and that gave us a foundation to stand on. It helped us move forward in our lives. Our dreams as parents are that our children will continue to follow Yeshua, to believe and love God, and also our dream as a family is to help as many believers as possible in Israel. Also, to serve and tell people about Yeshua so that they will believe in Him. We are very grateful to I Stand With Israel and all the donors who help people and us in such situations. Many thanks.
Did you know you can join Maoz in making Israel strong in the Lord? We've been working in the land for almost 50 years. We currently collaborate with over 100 congregations. Follow the links on screen to find out more and give today.
Shalom, shalom. We're here at our Maoz Israel Studios in Jerusalem, and today we're talking about Hanukkah. As you see, all of our Hanukkah paraphernalia here. Hanukkah is not a biblical holiday, so to speak. It's not one of the feasts of the Lord, as we see in Leviticus 23. We have Passover, then Shavuot, also known as Pentecost. And then in the fall feasts, we have Feast of Trumpets, Yom Kippur, then Sukkot, also known as the Feast of Tabernacles. But Hanukkah is still very important. It's a national and cultural holiday in Israel and important to Jews everywhere all over the world. Okay, so the 8-day Jewish celebration known as Hanukkah celebrates the rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem during the 2nd century BC. Jews had risen up against their Greco-Syrian oppressors in the Maccabean revolt. Hanukkah, which means dedication in Hebrew, begins on the 25th of Kislev on the Hebrew calendar and usually falls around November or December. Often called the Festival of Lights, the holiday is celebrated with the lighting of special menorah, a light lampstand called the Hanukkah, which has 8 candles. And Hanukkah is also celebrated with traditional foods and games, and in some places, the giving of gifts. So the event of Hanukkah took place in a very difficult time in Israel's history. Around 200 BC, the Seleucid Syrian Empire took control of Jerusalem, and King Antiochus Epiphanes IV, whose name means God manifest. Really? I mean, seriously? You see what Israel had to deal with for thousands of years? Crazy things like that. Anyway, he outlawed the Jewish religion and ordered Jews to worship Greek gods. In 167 BC, Israel was attacked by the Seleucid soldiers, and they ransacked Jerusalem, massacring thousands of people and desecrating the temple by erecting an altar to Zeus and sacrificing pigs on its altar. Can you imagine that? And then came the Maccabean revolt, led by the Jewish priest Mattathias and his 5 sons. A large-scale rebellion broke out against Antiochus and the Seleucid kingdom. When Mattathias died in 166 BC, his son Judah, known as Judah Maccabee, coming from the word in Aramaic for hammer. So the hammer, he took the torch of leadership from his father, and within 2 years, they raised up a Jewish revolt with revolutionaries driving out the pagan rulers out of Jerusalem. He relied largely on guerrilla warfare and really amazing tactics. Judah called on his followers to cleanse the Second Temple, rebuild its altar, and light its menorah, which is the golden candlestick seen with 7 branches. Okay, so you see this in the scriptures that talks about the menorah being in the temple. And this fire was supposed to be burning continually. So let's talk about the Hanukkah miracle of oil. According to tradition, Judah Maccabee and the other Jews who took part in the rededication of the Second Temple witnessed what they believed to be a miracle. Even though there was only enough untainted olive oil to keep the menorah's candles burning for a single day, the flames continued flickering on for 8 nights. The oil miraculously burned for 8 days, which was the necessary time to prepare a new supply of sacred oil for the temple menorah. This miracle inspired Israel to proclaim a yearly 8-day festival, which we call Hanukkah. Okay, so now let's talk about the fun stuff we have on Hanukkah, which is really an amazing celebration with the children. So I'm going to tell you, first of all, what we have here is a Hanukkah. Okay, often mistaken for a menorah. Menorah is just the word for candlestick in Hebrew. So this is a Hanukkah. It's very different, has 8 candles, and we have one in the middle. We'll talk about that in a second. So the menorah is what we see in the scriptures that was always in the temple, but this Hanukkah was invented after the time of Hanukkah to commemorate the miracle of the 8 days of oil. So what we do is after sundown, we begin to add a new candle every day, and we light until we see all 8 candles are lit, thus the 8th day. Now this middle candle, we call this the shamash, or the helper, or the servant candle. And it really reminds me of what we say in our congregations. We in Hebrew call the shamash the deacon, the people who serve in the congregations, the people who serve the others in our congregations. And so I just find it kind of interesting, maybe even a little prophetic, that the people who help light the others' fires are very important. They don't get a lot of respect and honor in and of themselves, but they are lifted up higher. The Lord honors and respects them. So just as we need to light other people's candles, we need to also realize we're called to be servants to do so. So let's continue. So Jews also typically recite blessings and sing songs, really wonderful songs in Hebrew during the lighting of the candles. Another fun way we celebrate Hanukkah as a way to remember the miracle of the oil is to eat foods fried in oil. Yes. So potato cakes we call latkes, and we often eat these with applesauce or other types of creams. And also we have these donuts that are filled with jams and all kinds of jellies and all kinds of other things, and we call these sufganiyot, which are very popular here in Israel during Hanukkah. Another custom is to play with 4-sided spinning tops. We call these dreidels, or here in Israel we call them sivivons, which means to spin. So I'm going to explain a little bit of the differences, and you should know the way that we celebrate Hanukkah in Israel is a little different than the way they celebrate in North America. So here we have, this is a dreidel that I actually just bought in the United States, and it has 4 letters in Hebrew, and these are things that have been celebrated throughout history for hundreds of years among the Jewish people. So the ones we have within Israel have slightly different letter. They have 1 letter difference, and the letters represent the words, great miracle happened here. So here in Israel, we add the letter which represents the word here. So a great miracle happened here. Now, outside of Israel, it says sham, or there. So a great miracle happened there. Here in Israel, we say a great miracle happened here. Outside of Israel, they say a great miracle happened there. So another way that Hanukkah differs in Israel and outside of Israel is the giving of gifts. So here in Israel, we don't really give a lot of gifts during Hanukkah, but as one rabbi told me in North America, it's really hard to compete with that old Christmas. So you see a lot of gifts given outside of Israel, but here in Israel, it's a minor holiday, and we don't take it as seriously, but it is a really fun time and teaches us a lot of lessons. Okay, so now I want to get into some really interesting things. So did you know that Yeshua, yes, Yeshua the Messiah, he celebrated Hanukkah. But before we get to this, let's read in John 8, verse 12, that Yeshua says, I am the light of the world. The one who follows me will no longer walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. This is an amazing passage. And if we look even one chapter following this, we see that Yeshua is bringing light to the blind. In John chapter 9, we see as Yeshua was passing by, he saw a man who had been born blind since birth. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he should be born blind? Yeshua answered, neither this man nor his parents sinned. This happened so that the works of God might be brought to light in him. We must do the work of the one who sent me, so as long as it is day. Night is coming when no man can work. While I'm in the world, I am the light of the world. It's fascinating. Now we see in John chapter 10, verses 22 through 24, Yeshua is in Jerusalem during the time of Hanukkah. Let's read John 10, 22 through 24. Then came Hanukkah. It was winter in Jerusalem. Yeshua was walking in the temple around the Solomon's colonnade. Then the Judean leaders surrounded him, saying, "How long will you hold us in suspense? If you're the Messiah, tell us outright." So, what a great time for them to ask this question. In Yeshua's time, the expectation in Israel was that Messiah would be a freedom-fighting hero, like a super Maccabee, that a warrior who would destroy Israel's enemies and bring everlasting peace. So this was the perfect time during Hanukkah for them to ask him, hey, tell us outright if you're really the Messiah. And if you are, show us by your actions. So Yeshua responded to them by telling him, hey, I've already made it clear by my actions. And the actions which were not expected by them were not one of a super Maccabee, but one of a healer and a teacher. Yeshua was showing Israel and the world that Messiah was destroying the power of sin. And he was able to build a heavenly kingdom on earth, not one of destroying Rome and rebuilding the earthly kingdom of Israel. Although a day will come when Yeshua will restore all things on earth as it is in heaven. So the Maccabees did an amazing job of preventing the faith of Israel from being swallowed up in Antiochus's plans to destroy the worship of the one true God of Israel. It was important that when Yeshua was born and would eventually teach and minister in the temple, that it would be a Jewish Jerusalem. And although under Rome's control, yet the priestly duties in the temple were allowed to operate. Yeshua showed that Israel had something greater than the temple that had come. And he would eventually atone for the world, and that he would be the Lamb of God, the ultimate sacrifice, and that his blood would be offered upon a heavenly altar for the sins of mankind. So the dedication of the temple celebrated during Hanukkah was extremely important to have taken place before Yeshua was born. Okay, so what can Christians who are not Jewish learn from Hanukkah? Okay, we've already said that Hanukkah is called the Festival of Lights, and we know that Yeshua himself, he is the light of the world. In Isaiah 49 through 6, we see that Israel is called to be a light to the nations, and believers all over the world are also to follow in this same calling. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 14, we see it is written, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket. Instead, they put it on a lampstand so it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men so they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." Amen. Amazing. This is a time where we can see our light shine. Hanukkah. It is the perfect setting to consider that even a little light can cast out deep darkness. We find inspiration during this season to let our faith in Yeshua shine through our actions and let his light affect the darkness in the world all around us. Now here in Israel, in Maoz, Israel, in our ministry here, we have an amazing team. Let's take a look to see how our team went to shine the light and love of the Lord at an orphanage here in Israel with some great kids who have faced some very intense darkness in their lives. Hanukkah reminds us to dedicate our hearts and lives back to God, to drive out sin and darkness from our lives, and to help others do the same. Together, we are the temple of God, made to be holy and pure to minister to Him. In 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5, we read, "You are also as living stones, being built up to be a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Messiah Yeshua." So, my prayer for you right now is that the Lord would take this season and shine His light into your life, that He would strengthen you to help others be a blessing by lighting up others in their time of need. Amen. So, you thought we were going to forget, but let's light the Hanukkah and to remember that we are made to be light to the nations and to all those around us. Again, we light the servant candle first, and then we light all the others one day at a time, remembering the miracle of Hanukkah, remembering the rededication of the temple. And as believers in Yeshua, we remember that He is our light of the world. So I hope you enjoyed our Maoz Israel Hanukkah edition. You can join us by being a light to the people of Israel to help them get to know Yeshua, the light of the world, the glory of Israel. The information on your screen right now will show you how you can be a part of changing lives in Israel. Together, we can build a spiritual altar to the Lord, both Jew and Gentile. Help us build a flaming torch for the Lord among congregations, both Jews and Gentiles, among families and individuals here in Jerusalem and throughout the land of Israel. From Jerusalem, Israel, I'm Kobe Ferguson. Shalom, shalom.
Join us for the latest news updates, teachings, podcasts, music, and more, straight from the land of Israel to you.